Hello everyone, my name is Letícia Machado and I'm a postdoc researcher in Brazil from Federal University of Pará, and I work in collaboration with Igor Stenmacher from US as well as Sabrina Marczak and Cleidson de Souza from Brazil. On behalf of my co-authors, I'm going to share our findings about how online forums complement task documentation in software crowdsourcing. You can just pause the slides if something interests you and rewind the video. Our primary motivation is related to study two different areas that were studied in an isolated way in software crowdsourcing projects: task documentation and communication in online forums in software projects. The second motivation refers to discuss the collaboration and coordination aspects involved during the execution of challenges among crowd developers to increase individual and collective performance, and also to provide empirical evidence to software crowdsourcing area from social technical perspective among involved parties, platform, requests, and the crowd. So, software crowdsourcing is the engage of a global pool of online works that can be tapped on demand by submitting software solutions. This approach has been used for companies seeking to increase the speed of their software development efforts. And the platforms that work in this model offer several software development tasks or challenges, requirements, design, coding, tests, and so on, to be performed by individual developers. In software crowdsourcing, there are some aspects that make these projects peculiar, such as the crowd works are competing against each other for monetary reward through submit solutions, and this workforce is transitory, anonymous, and unstable, that leads more complex articulation of work. The structure to the design of work is split in several tasks and is problematic to ensure that each task has enough information to enable crowd developers to know what they are supposed to do, and that leads to a misunderstanding about goals and requirements. Moving on, some previous work in software crowdsourcing has focused on the importance on write good specification documentation in software crowdsourced tasks. Besides that, other related work pointed out the communication barriers faced by crowd during the challenges. Some of these barriers are related to not direct communication using asynchronous channels and coordination efforts. So, our contributions are understand that requirement documentation and communication are crucial to support articulation of work in software crowdsourcing tasks, providing new insights into communication via online forums, allow crowd to gather additional information that is not present in the official task documentation, and inspire further research into requirement communication to improve software crowdsource process, practice, and tools. Our main research question is how online forums extend task documentation in competitive software crowdsourcing tasks. In this work, we address this research issue by studying the relationship between communication among crowd developers and the task documentation provided by task requesters. To our research methodology, we analyzed the task descriptions and the messages from online forums of 25 development challenges from Top Code platform. We analyzed the same 25 tasks and forums associated with these tasks, especially for coding programming tasks. Referring the data analysis from messages, we applied a qualitative analysis of the content of the communications forums hosted on Topcoder, some procedures from ground theory. We analyze the messages exchanged by the platform moderates, called in Topcoder as copilots, and the crowd or coders. We use categories and topic levels to identify the purpose of a message and its related discussed subject. Examples from topics are messages related to requirements, code libraries, deadline, etc. Here we bring some illustrations of how task documentation is presented by platform for the crowd. Bear in mind, the tasks represent the start point of the software crowdsourcing activity, and they play an important role to present the task descriptions, goals, and artifacts. On the other hand, there is an example from the forum associated with each task. Each forum is organized into threads, and they are the place where the crowd can discuss about documents and artifacts among them and the platform moderators, copilots. Here we talk about our results. This table is a data summary that illustrates some numbers in each challenge or task. In the column highlight in orange, we have the number of registered developers along with the average below, with minimum of 17 and the maximum of 62 developers per task. As we can see, the average for submit solutions is really low if you compare with the registered one. For example, one challenge had only one submit solution, in contrast to another task that had 7 active crowd developers who submitted their solutions. And finally, the last column shows the task that recommended developers to access the forum. Here we have 2 groups. Group 1 is the largest one, where most of the tasks, 64%, explicitly recommend use the forum. And group 2, 36% related to tasks that did not recommend use the forum. Group 1, we identified that the crowd really used the forums to seek information about the topics that were recommended in the task documentation. The top 3 topics recommended to use and discuss are to grant access for code repositories, to discuss technical and functional requirements, messages, and messages about the frameworks or libraries needed to build the solution. In addition, we observe on the other column, highlighting red, that crowd send unexpected messages denominated by us extra topics. This is messages that go beyond the topics initially suggested in the documentation. For example, input and output messages about code variables, requests for deadline extensions, and others. For group 2, tasks that did not explicitly recommend use the forum, results show that the crowd used the forum to seek additional details to clarify the task's requirements, discussing with crowd members to find a common understanding about other different topics, as we can see here. Once again, the requirements topic is also the first communicate topic on the list. Now, if you compare 2 groups, you can see the total message and topics discussed in the online forums. From group 1 and group 2, where group 1 are the tasks that recommend to use the forums, and group 2 are tasks that did not recommend to use the forums. Our empirical finds indicate that crowd members and platform moderates engage to discuss and validate information about all topics we coded, classified during our analysis. But again, the most discussed topic in both groups is about requirements. Indicate that the crowd use forums as an extension to the task documentation, while they are working on solution to software crowdsourcing tasks. Well, findings suggest that weak documentation is a challenge within software crowdsourcing context. However, when the crowd engages in online forum, they can obtain important additional information about the tasks that is not available in the official task documentation. Even in tasks where there was not an explicit recommendation to use the forum, as the group 2, the crowd exchange information about tasks. We can see some codes to exemplify a few requirements, access issues, and waiting messages for clients' feedbacks that this uncommunicated and misunderstood requirements can impact in crowd developers to deliver a solution that does not meet the client's requirements, or crowd members to give up submitting a solution. So to conclude, we observe that all the parts, request, platform, and crowd need to discuss different aspects of the task in different levels. With regards to what is coming next, we intend to seek to conduct additional quantitative and qualitative studies and investigate task mining to identify new topics in the forum messages. Thank you for your attention.